So in this video we're going to go through the joint freeing series quite quickly and move on to more strengthening and mobilising postures. So come to your staff pose and bring your hands onto two blocks, or bring your hands here into fist by the side of your hips. And we want a nice tall spine here, chest lifted, shoulders relaxed, core gently engaged, gripping the mat with your heels, tuck the chin and reach the crown of the head towards the sky. Take a few breaths here before we begin. Centering yourself, rooting down through your sit bones, reaching the crown towards the sky. And then bring your awareness to your feet and start to wriggle your toes. And stretch the tops of the feet flat, squeezing the soles of the feet, and then bring the feet into this flexion and extension a few times. I'm going to go through these movements quite quickly so that we can go on to the second phase of movements. So there's a video as well of this series in depth. This one is a quicker version of the joint freeing series. Okay, so bring the tops of the feet together, soles of the feet together. Keep the knees straight as you do this, so we're just focusing on the ankle joints here. Full range of movement through the ankle joints. Feet a bit wider, rotations. Same direction both ways, and then opposite directions both ways. And shake out. Right leg up, tuck the heel in, exhale, reach the leg straight, inhale. A few of these. Flexion, extension, flexion, extension, flexion, extension. Other side. Flexion, extension, flexion, extension, flexion, extension. Right leg again, lift, free off the lower leg and do a few rotations. Just finding that rotational movement through the knee joint. Left leg. One side feels more awkward than the other. One direction might feel more awkward than the other. Just notice all of these little discrepancies, anomalies. Just notice with no judgment. And as you do the sequence more and more, you might find those little discrepancies start to balance themselves out. Feet a bit wider, toes in, toes out. But we're flicking the feet, but we're allowing the rotation to go right up into the hip joints. Feet together. Cobbler pose. You can also do butterfly here. Hold on to the shins, the ankles, or the feet. You can come into little butterfly wings, or you can take a tall spine, tuck the chin, take a couple of breaths to open up the hip joints. And we're focusing on the groin here, trying to get a stretch through the groin. Area that gets really tight when you sit a lot, drive a lot. This posture helps us with our meditation pose as well, being able to sit nice and comfortably in meditation, and it helps our posture as well. Knees up, give them a squeeze. Roll onto your back. We're going to do hip circles here. So take your hips, knees wide, keep your lower back on the floor. Roll around 3 or 4 times each direction. If any of these movements are awkward, difficult, strenuous for you, then you can pause the video and do a few more repetitions. I'm going through it quite quickly today. So this is kind of like an overview and a quick way of rattling through all of these beautiful joint freeing movements without spending too long on each one. But you can always do more. Please pause and do more if you need to. Squeeze the knees towards the chest, pull the belly back, press the thighs into the abdomen, hold, release, release, release. Hold here, 3 breaths. Release. release and drop the right leg over the left. Pull the right knee towards the chest, tuck the chin, pull the belly back. 3 breaths here. Nice hip opener for piriformis muscle. And switch the legs over the other way and take 3 breaths here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And again, if you need to hold, then please feel free to do a few more breaths there. Roll over to one side. Come up onto all fours. Knees together. Hands a bit wide and the shoulders spread, the fingers. Now the hip movement here, we're going to drop the hips to the right, keep the knees on the floor, breathe into center, head stays still, knees stay where they are, and we just shift the pelvis from side to side, like so. Taking the hip joints into a side to side movement and stretching the outer edge of the hip. Come back to center. I'm going to go sideways, you can stay where you are. And we're going to move into tiger. Again, we are focusing on the hip joints now. So knees together again, you can change your hand position to a fist if you like. And when you've got your core gently engaged and you're supporting your lower back with that core, slowly extend the right leg. Reach through the heel and then lift the leg as high as it can go. And then bring the knee through. So stretching the front of the hip and then contracting. Psoas muscle. Get a stretch and then a contraction. Toning up that psoas muscle. And also we're squeezing the glutes when we come here, so strengthening for the back of the leg and into the glutes. Other side, extend the left leg, take your time. Make sure you don't rotate the hips as you lift that leg. Exhale. Inhale. Knees down and come off your wrist, give them a little shake out. Now we're gonna move from the hips to the spine. So we're going to come back onto all fours and we're going to roll through cat and cow. So hands come below the shoulders, knees below the hips, core engaged again. So to really feel the mobility of the spine, we're going to go with the spinal wave way of doing the cat posture. So we tilt the pelvis and pick up the tail, drop the belly, drop the ribs and reach with the chin forwards and stretch the crown of the head. Inhale. Then to exhale, we keep the head where it is, tuck the tail. Pull the belly up, round the mid-back, round the upper back and then tuck the chin, exhale. Keep the head where it is, lead with the tailbone, lifting on the inhale, drop the belly in, slowly reach the neck and the head at the end of your in-breath. Tuck the tail, round the spine, exhale, exhale, exhale. Another round. And exhale. Back to neutral spine. Now we're going to think about 2 more movements for this spine. The next movement is a side lateral flexion, side bend. So let's walk to the right, keeping the knees and the hips where they are, isolating the spine into a side, a lateral flexion. 3 breaths here. A little bit further, another breath or 2. And when you're ready, walk back. Before you do the other side, have a little check-in and see how that feels. See if you can feel the difference from the 2 sides. Keep the back nice and flat, keep the core tucked in as you roll the hands around, walk the hands around to the left. After a few breaths, you might want to go a little bit deeper. And then when you're ready, walk all the way back to center. Okay, now we can do a little rotation for the spine. Simplest way to do this is to drop one elbow down to the floor, push the other shoulder up, keep your head neutral. Breathe in, come back up, breathe out. Drop the opposite elbow down, push the shoulder up, breathe in, breathe out. Such a simple way to get a very effective rotation through the spine. Another way you can do it is to come into weaving cat, sliding one hand through, drop onto that shoulder, push the other shoulder up. Few breaths here. Come back up to center, slide one hand past the wrist, tuck the shoulder under, push the other shoulder up. Stronger twist, definitely through the spine. But the first one is just as nice. The first one still gets that rotation and it's quite quick and simple to do. So do a few more repetitions of whichever one of those you like, and we're going to finish here in kneeling posture or seated. I'm just going to put some more ghee on my candle while you're doing that. And when you've done a few of those rotations, sorry, I should have said come back and do a couple of cat and cow, just so you bring your spine back into that linear movement of the extension and flexion before you move on. I always like to finish a twist with a little realigning the spine. Whenever I've done a few twists, I like to just do that cat and cow again, just to get the spine moving in a straight line again. I'm going to come to sit kneeling, and I'm going to just slide a cushion onto my sit bones, under my sit bones onto my heels. If you find kneeling uncomfortable, please come to sit on your seat position in a chair, in this cross leg position, or on a block. Arms up. No, neck. We'll do the neck first. So we've worked the spine to the bone here at the top of the back. Let's just work the 7 vertebrae of the neck. So tuck your chin, breathing out. Lift the head, breathing in, but don't, if I'm going to hold my neck now like this, I'm going to hold here to show you. Don't do this, don't flip the head like that right back. There's no benefit in doing that because there aren't any muscles here that are going to get a stretch here. So as you lift your head up, keep the neck long, and then out breath. In breath. Out breath. In breath. Out breath. Back to neutral. I'm turning to face you to show you this one. So exhale, left, right ear, right shoulder, inhale, center. Exhale, left ear, left shoulder. Now, in order to keep those shoulders really still, engage here in the tummy. Pull these toe muscles back, and notice how that helps you to keep the shoulders really, really still. As the core supports the spine and the shoulders can relax. Bring your right ear to right shoulder, wrap your right arm round, and just let the weight of the arm ease the head into a neck stretch here. Keep your core engaged. Put my hands here, it reminds me to always be aware of my core engagement. Arm up and over, head comes up. Left ear to left shoulder, left arm wraps around the head, place the hand over the ear. Keep the nose pointing forwards. Take a few breaths here. Get a really deep stretch there without any effort at all. Again, if you have neck problems, side to side or movements, rotation. If you have neck problems, if you have headaches, if you get tension in the shoulders, the neck, then please pause the video and do a few more of these. I'm finishing with the rotation. Okay. Now we're going to go on to the hands and wrists. So, extend your hands in front of you. Flick, squeeze and flick, squeeze and flick. And think about all the joints in the fingers and how we want to keep those really mobile. Okay, and then tuck the thumbs in, roll the fingers around, and then, like we did with the feet, see if we can do some rotations here. And notice somehow the brain likes this move much more. The going in the opposite direction seems to be much more fluid than this movement for some reason. So do both, have a little play with both of those. Shake that out. One more movement for the wrists. Extension, flexion. Extension, flexion. Keep the arms still, isolate the wrist joints. And then the wrist also has this movement. Imagine you, the queen, waving to and fro. Palms facing the ground. This one feels quite easy. Turn the palms the other way and it feels a lot more awkward. Find that movement as well. Keep the arms straight. Isolate the wrist joints. Shake out. Okay, hands on the shoulders. Elbows now. So, extension, inhale, and flexion, exhale. A few of these. And then from here, we go into squeeze the shoulder blades together, open the shoulder blades. And as well as creating freedom, mobility through the joints, these movements are also preparing the body for the postures that we're going to be doing. So this movement, for example, prepares us to do camel pose when the arms come behind and we lift the chest. So all of these movements are preparing the body. Let's try a few nice big rotations with the elbows here. Oh, really big expansive movement. Breathe in, breathe out. Open up the ribs, open up the lungs. And let's go the other way. And often there's crunching when you do these movements in the shoulders, and that's okay. If you can hear crunching, please don't panic, it's fine. It's just the muscle fibers kind of rubbing against each other. Okay. Another movement for the shoulders is a rotation movement. So if you think about the joint here in the shoulder, we want to take you've got your shoulder here, the top of the arm goes here. We want to see if we can do this kind of action through that shoulder joint. So bring your arms out about like 45 degrees and rotate. Start at your fingertips, roll, and then elbows, and then the shoulders. Move that twist all the way into a shoulder rotation. Try to keep your back and your head really still. So again, you're isolating this joint. Right arm stays up now and the left goes, and then switch, and switch, and switch, and switch. And now try to switch and extend. So turn your head to the right and reach. Turn your head to the left and reach. So if you're pulling that shoulder out of the socket. Great. Okay, and then bring the hands down and give them a shake. Another way to rotate into the shoulder is this one, as if you're stopping the traffic. Breathing in, arm comes up. Breathing in, fingertips point directly down. Point the fingers directly up, directly down. Again, the body stays still, isolating. Last one. And then how about a few little asymmetrical. One arm going one way, one arm going the other way. Look a bit like a robot. Okay, shake out. Last movement, I'm going to go sideways to show you. So, this movement you need to do kneeling or high kneeling or standing. Arms come above the head. Prepping for tree pose, warrior pose. Arms come up, but we don't tense the shoulders. Swing the arms behind you. Keep the body totally still. So don't be tempted to move the spine here. Keep your core engaged. Keep your body still. Isolate the joints. Breathing in, reach. Breathing out. Shake out. Backs the hands together. Open the shoulder blades. Lift the chest a little bit and squeeze those shoulder blades together. So just see if we can just isolate the top of the spine, the movement of the scapula. Really get some freedom and mobility here in the shoulders. So many people have tight shoulders, tense necks. Let's get the shoulders really working, opening, creating space, loudly. Okay, and then from here, come to sitting in cross-leg position. And we're going to carry on that movement. So this movement that we just did, carry that into the whole spine. So rounding the whole spine and then elongating the whole spine. Flexion, extension. Flexion, out breath, extension, in breath. Okay, great. Okay, now we're going to do side bend back to the middle. Side bend to the right. Up on an inhale. Side bend to the left. up, and then inhale. True side bend. We're not dropping that top shoulder forwards or backwards. We're keeping it pointing up towards the sky. Over to the right, and you can trail over the left arm and take a couple of breaths here. Increasing the side bend and stretching through the outside edge of the left side of the body. Inhale, come up. Slide the left arm over, let the right arm trail up and over. Keep the right arm above your ear, nose points forwards, and just find a side bend here. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come down. Let's do rotation to the right, rotation to the left, rotation to the right, rotation to the left. If you want to make the tummy muscles work a bit harder, don't use the arms, use your tummy muscles. Come all the way to the right, let's hold here for 3. Length on the inhale, pull a bit deeper on the exhale. 2 more, length on the inhale. Cross the arms, roll to the left, hands down. Find your full rotation, 3 breaths here. Inhale, come back to center. Close your eyes, take a breath. So now we're going to go into using groups of muscles. So what we were doing then with those movements was isolating each of the joints individually. Now we're going to use different muscles, different joints together in little sequences. And again, these are all preps and warm-ups for our postures. The full yoga postures we're going to do next week. So, hands come underneath. We're going to do a cat and cow bow now. So a bit like a press up. We're going to strengthen the shoulder joints and the upper arms. Middle fingers pointing forward, spread the fingers. We're going to breathe in and drop the belly in as if we're doing cow pose. Breathe out, round into cat pose. Breathe in, drop the belly into cow pose. This time, breathe out, lift the chin slightly, take the chest down towards the floor, and then breathe in and come back up. Breathe out, round the spine. Breathe in, drop the belly. Breathe out, lower. Breathe and push up. Working up to 6 of those. If 2 or 3 is enough, then stay with 2 or 3. See if you can work up to 6. Okay, I'll do 4, and you can do another. You can pause it and do another couple if you want to. Then we're going to do this with the hands. If I show you the shape here. Okay, so come back to your position, table position. Do this with the hands. Now my elbows are still below my shoulders, but my 2 middle fingers are pointing towards each other. So again, we're going to drop the belly, inhale. Bow down towards the earth, exhale. Breathe in to push back up. Breathe out, little breather here around the spine. Breathe in, drop the belly. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, push up. And breathe out, round. I find this one easier. You might find it more difficult on the other one. Again, work up to 6 of these. The wrist when you're ready, give them a little shake out. So if you want to do some more of those, if you feel like that's a weakness in your body, upper arms, shoulders, please pause the video and do some more. And now we're going to move into moving through the hips into runner hamstrings. We're going to take the legs into different positions here for runner. So bring your right foot forward, and as you come forward into runner, just ease in and out a little bit here. So you might want to tuck the back toes. That might be more comfortable for the knee. You can pad the knee if you need to. It might be more comfortable with the foot here. Settle here in runner pose for a couple of breaths. And just notice how that stretch comes right through the front of the left hip. But the right hip is getting a stretch as well, but in the opposite direction. The back of the right hip is getting a stretch here. From here, walk your hands back into hamstring stretch. As we shift the weight back, might be easier to balance if you tuck your toes here. Straighten the right knee, and then you might want to bring this hand up and warm up the hamstrings. And then we can play with a few different postures here. So I'm going to show you different postures, and you play with the ones that work for you. So from runner here into this hamstring stretch, and if you pull the toes towards you, you also get a calf stretch and an Achilles tendon stretch as well. From here, you can also lift that back knee into runner's lunge. Drop the hips as much as you can to get that kind of splits kind of action through the hip joints. And then again, you can drop the knee and do the hamstring stretch. From here, from this runner's lunge, you can also lift the hips high into scissor fold, pushing the back heel down, both toes pointing forwards, and walk the hands back if you need to, and bow over that front leg. Straighten the front knee as much as possible. So, if you have tight hips, tight psoas, tight hamstrings, this is a great sequence, and you can play with it and do different variations. Here into runner, back into hamstring stretch, back into runner. You can also come up into high runner like so. Pick up the back knee, lift the hips, back into runner. If you like, you can come from here into plank. Again, nice little bit of upper body strengthening. You can pick up your tail for dog. You can back into plank. Pick up the tail and bend the knees for dog. Play around with that for a few rounds, and then you can bring the left foot through and try the same little sequence on the left side. So, when we do a runner pose, we really want to be careful of this front knee and ankle, so we always try to have this leg vertical. So if you come here and you find that the knee shoots over towards the toes, and just wiggle the foot forward like so. And the first time I do a runner, like when I do a sun salutation, the first time I do it, I just like to kind of ease in and out a little bit, and then I can hold. And I can just let that muscle start to stretch out. The psoas at the front of the hip is a really important muscle, and it goes from the front in the spine all the way across the pelvis and down the front of the hip. Quite a long muscle, very important muscle. Let's come back and do the hamstring stretch. Pull the toes up to get the extra stretch through the lower leg, and you can move in and out of that. The more you can hinge at this hip joint here, hinge the body forwards, the more you'll feel it in the back of the knee, hamstrings. And the more you pick up the toes, you'll feel it more in the lower leg. So wherever you've got tightness, then focus on that one point or both. Pick up that knee and find a learner's lunge here. This is quite a different stretch. Not much difference between that and that, but you do feel different muscles reacting. Back you go into the hamstring stretch again. And then from here, I like this transition from runner's lunge up into scissor fold. I'm going to push my right heel away. That really targets that Achilles calf muscle. And I'm going to straighten the left leg, bowing over the left leg. Back into runner, back into that hamstring stretch, back into runner's lunge, scissor fold, back into plank or dog, or back onto your knees. You could do a couple of rounds of cat and cow here if you like. Up into dog, into plank, up into dog, onto the knees, and we're going to come onto the belly now. We're going to do a groin stretch now. So come onto your belly, walk your hips from side to side, bring your hands to make a little pillow for your head. Take a breather. Whew. And then if you're in the middle of your mat, if you wiggle your knees out, you want to find the edge of your mat. So I can just feel the edge of the mat now underneath my kneecaps. And I'm going to pick up my lower legs, cross the ankles. I've got my right ankle on top of my left, and I'm going to draw my feet towards the floor. I'm going to engage my core and push my pubic bone into the floor. So I'm really kind of supporting my low spine. And here, getting the stretch into the groin. Put your knees up, swap over. Let's test this side. Take the knees up, let's hold for a count of 3. Right foot on top of the left and push the left foot towards the floor. 3 breaths. Switch when you're ready. Left foot pushes the right foot down. 3 breaths. Release and see if you can bring the soles of the feet together and push the feet towards the floor. 3 breaths here. Keep your core engaged, keep your belly on the floor. And release. Bring your knees back in. Push yourself up into a nice child's pose. So tuck the knees under the body. Slide your arms along the mat. Bring your hands down and your head down so your ears by your upper arms. Have a little rock here from side to side. Take a breath or two. And then roll yourself over because we're going to come into semi-supine, like so. So you've got your back nice and flat on the floor, wriggle yourself into the ground. Your feet are hip width apart, knees above the hips, knees above the ankles, legs nicely aligned, hands on your belly. We're going to explore the mobility here around the pelvis, and then we're going to take that into a bridge, but we're not doing bridge straight away. We're doing pelvic tilt and thrust to begin with. So hands on the belly, breathing in, let the belly expand, and push your tailbone into the ground. And then notice here how you can get your hand underneath your back. You've got a little lift here in the lower back. That's okay, don't worry about that. Inhale, and then exhale. Press your back into the floor. Now you can't get your hand underneath. You're really pushing into the mat. And lift the tailbone. So inhale, we expand the belly, we rock the pelvis. This is called pelvic tilt. And then we tuck the tail up towards the ceiling as we press the belly button down. And this is called pelvic thrust. Pelvic tilt, inhale, pelvic thrust, exhale, pressing the belly down. So this movement is really good if you have lower back issues, if you have tightness in the lower back, weakness in the lower back. The pelvic thrust stretches the lower back, feel that, how it's lengthening on the floor, and the pelvic tilt contracts the lower back, so it's strengthening. So feel the difference in the 2 movements. Notice how much range of movement you've got here. Hands on the belly, hands on the hip bones. Notice how far back they go for pelvic thrust and how far forward they go for pelvic tilt. Do another few rounds. And if you have low back issues, you can build up to do more and more of these movements so that you're really kind of getting some strength and mobility in that low spine. Okay, now we're going to include this in our bridge pose. So inhale, belly lifts, tailbone goes down. Exhale, belly pushes down towards the spine, lift at the tailbone. Bring your hands to the mat here. Inhale, pick up your tailbone and lift the spine off the mat. Shift your weight onto your ribs. Exhale, roll back down one by one, roll the vertebra. Inhale, belly lifts, tailbone down. Exhale, press the belly to the ground, and then inhale, peel your back off the mat. Exhale, roll back down. Inhale, tilt. Exhale, pelvic thrust. Inhale, peel up into bridge. Keep your chin tucked in. Keep your neck, head, jaw relaxed. Exhale, down. Inhale, little lift. Exhale, press the belly down. Inhale, pick up the spine. Go higher and higher with every inhale. Exhale, lower down. So an extra little breath here as we do the pelvic tilt, pelvic thrust, pick up the tailbone, pick up the spine one vertebra at a time, lower the spine one vertebra at a time, pelvic tilt, pelvic thrust, pick up the tailbone. Lovely. And then you can either keep doing that a few more rounds, or if you want to come up into a bridge, you can come up and hold. So you can roll yourself up, push up onto the top of the shoulders, roll the shoulder blades in, interlace your hands underneath your body and hold here. Hold for another few breaths if you like. Come down if you're ready to come down. Pick up your knees and have a little rock from side to side. Okay, we've got one more movement to do here, neck strengthening. So, do you remember the posture we did in the joint freeing series, stopping the traffic? Bring your arms up, so you've got a 90-degree angle at the elbows, and you've got your upper arms in a long line, one elbow to the other, and you've got your core engaged, your lower back on the floor. We're going to inhale here, and then as we exhale, we're going to lift the head and look at the knees, tucking the chin. Inhale, come down. Exhale, relax. Inhale, prepare for the movement, engage your core. Exhale, lift the head. Inhale, release. Exhale, relax. Inhale, prepare. And exhale, lift. So, build up to 6 of those. And relax whenever you've done enough of those. Roll your head from side to side. So this is building up strength in the back of the neck. Now we're going to turn the head to the left. Look at your left elbow. Breathe in, engage your core. Breathe out, lift the head up. Breathe in, lower. Exhale, relax. Breathe in, prepare. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, lower. Exhale, relax. Breathe in, prepare, squeeze your tongue muscles. Breathe in, breathe out, lift. Breathe in, release. Build up to 6 of those. We'll just do 3 for now. Roll the head the other way. Look at your right elbow. Breathe in, prepare, engage your core. Breathe out, lift. So you're lifting the head with the rotation. Back to center when you're ready. Relax your arms. Interlace your hands behind and put them behind your head. We're going to stretch out the neck now passively. So your hands can be behind the head. Elbows are going to point towards the ceiling. We're going to breathe in, engage the core. Exhale. Don't use your neck muscles now. Use your arms to pick the head up and stretch. So that strengthening that we're doing, we're just counterposing that. We inhale as we prepare, we exhale as we pick the head off the floor. Inhale, lower. Exhale, relax. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, lift. And when you're ready, bring your hands down. And bring your hands onto your belly. Drop the knees out to the side, bring the soles of the feet together. You can stay here with your hands on your belly, or you can bring your hands above the head. And take a couple of breaths here. Open the shoulders, open those hip joints. This is called the Goddess Mudra. We find that diamond shape in the legs, diamond shape with the arms, and you can also bring your hands into a cash mudra, thumbs touching, index fingers touching, palms of the hand flat towards the sky, backs of the hands flat on the floor, so you've got a diamond shape in your hands as well. over. Keep the Akash Mudra, place the hands on the belly. Take a breath here. Next in breath, lift your knees up, put your feet flat on the floor. Pull your hands out to the side. You can slide your hands into Shavasana if you like. Take a few breaths here. Scan your body, see how you feel. See if you can feel where your body's worked quite hard. You might feel tingling, you might feel heat. You might feel as if you can really tune into the sensation of the blood moving through the body along the veins and the arteries, your heart beating in your chest. You have a real sense of gratitude for your health, for this amazing miracle that is your body. It's carrying you through life. Every breath a gift from the universe. Stay in Shavasana for as long as you like. I'm going to roll over and come to sitting. I'm going to say namaste. But please stay in Shavasana if you want to stay for another few minutes. All blessings to you. Namaste.